access to affordable health care should not be a privilege, it should be a right.
Who here would abolish their private health insurance in favor of a government-run plan?
Yeah.
All right.
How important is it to your health care plan to get rid of private insurance companies?
The bottom line and the most important is that everyone have access to health care. That is the goal. That is the purpose for me supporting the policy of Medicare for all.
Vice President Harris promising health care reform back in 2019, but now, yes, once again, a campaign official tells Fox she will not push it this time around. A recent Forbes article tracks Harris's history of flip-flopping on the issue. Let's bring in Avik Roy. He is the author of that piece and the president of the Foundation for Research on Equal Opportunity, which is a great think tank with a lot of wise policy coming out of there. So where do we stand on this idea? Medicare for All was popular in the 2020 Democratic primary, but as soon as they kind of touched the hot stove, all of them except for Bernie Sanders backed away from it. What do you think she stands for today?
Well, the Vice President Harris did not totally back away from it. What's being portrayed as her sort of moderate backing away from the Bernie Sanders plan, which would eliminate all private insurance throughout the country, is a plan that would eliminate most private insurance throughout the country and spend just as much as the Bernie plan. So from a fiscal and economic standpoint, her plan would increase federal spending by about $30 to $35 trillion over 10 years. It's fiscally the most radical plan that's ever been proposed by a major party nominee, at least in my lifetime. And now her anonymous campaign officials are saying, well, she might not support that exact plan, but we don't know yet. All we know from her is that the most recent plan she put out is a plan that would spend about $35 trillion, about 12 times what Obamacare cost back when we were arguing about Obamacare. In 2020, there was a poll, a call for number 3 here, asking people what they thought about getting rid of private health insurance. This is insurance you would get through your employer. Favor was 42%, oppose 49%. And I think as it went on and people learned a little bit more about this idea, that happened. Now, let me just ask you this. Let's say people might say, well, the cost would be worth it because things would then be more fair and the quality of health care might be better under a Harris plan. How would you respond to that notion? Yeah, there's no evidence of that. Everywhere you look where there's a single-payer plan like Canada or the UK, where they've abolished private health insurance and there's only government health insurance, the plans are of lower quality and people are trying to escape that system. Even within Medicare today, more than half of the people who enroll in Medicare are actually enrolled in private health insurance because they find the private health insurance plans serve them better and have better financial deals and have lower costs and better services than the traditional government-run Medicare program. And that's what Bernie wanted to abolish. And by the way, Kamala Harris was the first senator to co-sponsor Bernie's plan back in 2017 to abolish all private health insurance. So yes, she's been a little back and forth on this issue, but the so-called moderate version of her plan would still basically eliminate most private health insurance within 10 years. So one of the things Republicans had said for years was that they would repeal and replace Obamacare. They've walked away from that as well. So from the Republican standpoint, if they want to beat the Democrats on the issue of health care, what is either the best policy or the best message for them to say? I mean, is it more competition? How do we continue to be better than the Canadian and the British system? Well, the Republicans should advocate making sure that everybody has affordable options for health insurance. There's a bill that's been introduced in both the House and the Senate called the Fair Care Act by Mike Braun in the Senate and Bruce Westerman and Jim Banks in the House that would accomplish that. So there are ways to address the problems of affordability through private insurance, through more competition, through lower costs, through more innovation. So yes, Republicans shouldn't just say the status quo is okay. Most Americans don't believe the status quo is okay. But abolishing private insurance will make the healthcare system worse because you'll have fewer choices. You'll have a one-size-fits-all plan. If the government plan doesn't serve your needs, you don't have anywhere to go. You'll have to leave the country to get a different kind of health insurance. And then where are you going to go? Exactly. Avik Roy, thank you so much. Stay in touch with us because we'd love to talk about the policies here. We'll hope the Vice President does so as well soon. Thank you. Thanks, Dana.